Well, I done it too. Has anybody got a suggestion on how to remind yourself to turn the microphone on? So I got the weeds dug out from my little fence that I grow my maters and beans and stuff on. I ain't got it completely cleaned off, but I got enough out of the way I can get some fresh compost in to start planting. I'm going to have to find some zip ties. The ones that were here were small and have broke. And the rest of the garden is going to seed. Just about everything. The kale, and that is my little celery plant that's really taken off. I hope it does good. And I also have a cabbage that I started from a store-bought root. I'll show you a picture of what it looked like when I got it out of the refrigerator. The peas never did do good. They do have a bloom or two on them, but I think when we start planting other stuff that I'll just pull those out. I'm going to leave my turnips and collards to go to seed so we can save seed off of that if the birds don't get it all again. The lettuce looks amazing. We need to be eating salad. There's one little stray cilantro in there. The arugula is going to seed. We'll see if we can save some seed off of that too. My walking onions is starting to put out. There's another one. And one more. So, there's another one. So hopefully we'll get some more walking onions to take off. The iceberg lettuce is not doing nearly as good as the ruby red. And I can't remember the exact name of this one. The Paris Island Cos lettuce. It's doing good. So we will have something to mix in with our red ruby, along with some spinach. That needs to be got. It's big. The purple kohlrabi didn't do as good as I thought it should, but it's not terrible. My little onions that I started from seed, I'm really happy with those. There's a little hickory nut tree that we need to get transplanted over to the farm. And the mustard greens have went to seed. And the garlic is looking pretty good. There's still carrots down in here. I'm hoping they go to seed pretty soon. I was wanting to try to save some seed off of them. And the parsley is about to take over. It's starting to go to seed. I'll have to look and see how many parsley seeds I have to see if I need to leave that or if I were to pull it out. I'm not sure why I bother wearing shoes. So I got my place along my fence cleaned out, ready for fresh compost. Then I'll have somewhere to plant my tomatoes that I have started in the greenhouse. I don't know if they'll all fit, but it's a start. The kids are still napping, so I'm just going to sit and feel the breeze. I don't know if you can hear that bird over the lawnmower next door, but he is happy about something. Oh, will have to let me know if I'm right, if I can get a shot of him. I think I just saw a mason bee. Go in that little hole right there. There he comes back out. There he went. It's amazing the things you can see if you just have time to sit still and watch for them. I have read a little bit about building houses for mason bees, but I'm not real sure how to identify one. So if someone can help me out with that, that'd be great. He's back. At the front porch, my chives are blooming. My sage is getting ready to bloom. All over. It is loaded with bloom. My oregano is taking over. And that is the first rosemary plant that I have ever had to live more than a month. And I've broken off a few twigs and stuck in the dirt down here. I can get the oregano out of the way in hopes of getting a few more plants. And there's another bunch of chives. But hopefully my luck with rosemary is turning around. Before the battery dies, we've got some purple Russian tomatoes, a nasturtium. There's only one came up. These are National Pickling cucumbers. Only one of my sugar baby watermelons came up. These are not sure what kind of cantaloupe, but they're cantaloupe. This is a honey rock cantaloupe. These are some zucchini squash that needs to be put in the garden. A couple of jalapenos, some Granville mix, some banana peppers, some California Wonder peppers, and some dox. I'm not even going to try to say it. Another bell pepper. A little bit of bee balm with some weeds. Those two jalapenos didn't come up. At Baker's Creek, my free seed this time was a white tomato, so we're going to see what those do. Got a few Black Beauty eggplants. Those seed were so old, I'm surprised any of those came up. But 3 of them did. Some lemon balm in those 3 round pots. And I tried to start some valerian. I've got 3, but from my understanding they are a weed, and once you have a start you have trouble getting rid of it. This is one of my Hopi gray squash that I really like. We'll be planting more of those straight out into the garden. I just wanted one to start early. The rest of that flat is Rutger tomatoes. And Jackson planted some watermelon in these the other day. They haven't started to come up yet. And there's the sweet tater slips that came off of those great big sweet taters that you'll see that you saw in the other video. These are just off of a store-bought sweet potato. I've got a little bit of lemongrass starting, but there's so many weeds in it I don't know if it's going to do any good. And I started a whole flat of Roma tomatoes, is all it said on the pack, and those are the only ones that came up. So I have reseeded the rest of that flat in Amish paste tomatoes, and they are just now coming up. So hopefully we'll have better luck with these than we did the regular Romas. I was up at my dad's and I snitched me a few comfrey plants, and I started some I started some strawberries in these plants, and I think this is the only one that done any good in this pot, but I think there's a cutworm in it. It hasn't bothered the comfrey, so I don't know. I got the strawberries at Tractor Supply, and I have a start now, but I'm fairly disappointed. I do have one bloom. In this top row, I went around my basil and didn't even film it. And I also have I guess you call this a tray that I started trying to grow cumin again. I've tried before. I'm not having any luck. If anybody has any tips, let me know. I'll be glad when I finally figure out this camera. So it's getting pretty late in the evening, even though the kids are still asleep. I think it's about time for me to go in and start supper. Hope y'all have a good evening.